Stop scrolling. What if I told you that the shocking death of Chinese superstar Yu Menglong, the death the authorities called an accident, is a lie? What if the real, blood-chilling evidence of his final, terrifying moments is not buried in a cold police file, but is on public display in the most prestigious, avant-garde art center in all of Beijing? I'm talking about a blood-soaked jacket and a pair of broken shoes found abandoned in the desolate, echoing corridors of the 798 Art Museum. You are about to enter a rabbit hole that rips apart the official narrative. We'll show you the stunning, mind-blowing scenes that connect a falling star, a powerful conspiracy, and a museum that became a mausoleum. You will see things you can't unsee. Stick around, because the truth about Yu Menglong's final moments is infinitely darker and more spectacular than you could ever imagine. This is the story they don't want you to hear. The 798 Art District in Beijing is a vibrant tapestry of creativity, a former industrial complex reborn as the pulsing heart of China's contemporary art scene. But on a cold, early morning, the kind of Beijing day where the air itself feels heavy with unspoken secrets, a chilling discovery turned this canvas of light and color into a silent, blood-soaked mausoleum. It wasn't a newly commissioned sculpture or a provocative installation. It was the raw, unadulterated reality of a nightmare. Tucked away in the cavernous, concrete expanse of a nondescript gallery, the maintenance crew found them: a pair of white, high-top sneakers, scuffed and worn, and a designer denim jacket, crumpled. Both items were instantly recognizable. Both were undeniably Yu Menglong's. And both were marred by a deep, terrifying crimson that was not paint. The official story of Yu Menglong's death, the one disseminated globally, quickly and firmly, was an accidental fall after a night of drinking. A tragic, yet mundane, celebrity end. But how could a man who fell to his death miles away from this location leave his final, desperate wardrobe as a macabre exhibit in one of the city's most secure cultural hubs? This wasn't a clumsy oversight. This was a statement. A signature in blood on the city's artistic soul. The art world is about pushing boundaries, about revealing hidden truths. But what if the truth revealed here was the cold, hard evidence of a cover-up so elaborate, so audacious, it could shatter the illusion of control? The police swarmed the area, but the story was already leaking, not through official channels, but through the hushed whispers of curators and gallery owners, a secret shared between the steel beams of the old factory. The jacket and shoes were quickly removed, their existence denied, yet the phantom stain of their presence lingered, a specter haunting the silent, polished floors. Yu Menglong was more than just an actor, he was a cultural icon, his face an emblem of China's modern glamour. His fans adored him. But as with all shining stars, there were dark forces circling. The online rumor mill, usually a source of baseless gossip, began to grind out a terrifying narrative, one that explained the accident and the macabre art exhibit. It revolved around a tiny, innocuous object, a USB drive. The whisper suggested that Yu Menglong wasn't just partying that night, he was meeting to pass on a digital file, a collection of state secrets, corruption evidence, or perhaps the truth about a powerful shadow organization that extended its reach into the highest echelons of government and entertainment. The stakes were astronomical, a matter of life and death, not just for a celebrity, but for the very stability of powerful families. The astonishing scene that followed, pieced together from alleged leaked audio and cryptic social media posts that vanished as quickly as they appeared, paints a picture of pure, cinematic horror. We're talking about a struggle not just for life, but for the content of his body. The horrifying theory suggested that as a last, desperate measure to keep the information from his pursuers, Yu Menglong swallowed the USB drive. Mind-blowing scene, imagine the stark, terrifying tableau, a luxury apartment, minimalist and cold, overlooking the glittering cityscape. The air thick with tension and the smell of expensive alcohol. Yu Menglong is cornered, his eyes wide with a terror no script could teach. His adversaries, powerful, silent figures, don't want him dead immediately. They want the information. The sound of a blood-curdling, desperate plea captured on an alleged, leaked audio snippet, followed by the muffled, sickening sound of struggle. The fight moves towards the balcony, not for an escape, but for a final act of defiance. The accidental fall was the final, brutal punctuation mark on a covert operation to retrieve the digital ghost buried inside him. The blood-stained jacket and shoes. They were allegedly thrown from the apartment. An attempt to throw investigators off the scent, to suggest he fled, was pursued, or was never there at all. An act of pure psychological theater by his killers. Let's return to the 798 Art District and amplify the horror. The discovery of the items was an anomaly that defied all logic, and the scene that must have unfolded for those who found them is almost impossible to comprehend. Imagine the curator, a man accustomed to the abstract and the conceptual, confronted with a literal piece of tragedy. The jacket, heavy denim, would have retained the chilling evidence of the scuffle, snags, tears, and the density of the dried blood. The shoes, one heel reportedly scuffed down to the composite, suggested a frantic, desperate run, an uneven gait of a man severely injured or running on impossible terrain. Mind-blowing scene, the security footage. Imagine a split second of grainy, night vision film from a camera outside the 798 complex. Not of Yu Menglong, but of a phantom. A vehicle pulls up in the dead of night. A figure, cloaked and moving with brutal efficiency, hurls a bundle over the museum's razor wire fence. It is the jacket and shoes. But seconds later, as the vehicle accelerates, a separate figure, impossibly thin and swift, darts out from a hidden access point inside the museum grounds. Could this have been an accomplice? A terrified witness? Or perhaps the actual artist of this horrific installation, making sure the evidence was perfectly placed for maximum symbolic impact? The flicker of a reflection in a glass pane, just a millisecond, reveals not a person, but something that looks unnervingly like a theatrical prop or a costume piece, hinting at a meticulously planned, staged murder. The very act of placing these relics in a temple of expression suggests a mocking gesture, a deliberate subversion of the accidental death narrative. The 798 Art Museum, with its brutalist concrete and industrial shell, became the world's most shocking, unauthorized true crime exhibit. The perpetrators, in their hubris, had used the actor's own celebrity and the city's artistic freedom against the truth, turning a simple gallery into a silent, screaming protest. Forensics, even suppressed forensics, tells a story. And the blood splatter on the denim jacket, were it ever truly analyzed, would be a forensic poem of violence. The crimson stains were not uniform. They allegedly showed different patterns, fine misting, typical of a high-velocity impact, larger droplets, suggesting arterial spray from a wound, and a pooling near the collar, hinting at a transfer stain, perhaps from a heavy, desperate head wound. Mind-blowing scene, the internal lining of the shoes. Imagine a hidden compartment, expertly tailored into the sole's padding, not for a USB, but for something even more arcane. A miniature, encrypted chip. This microchip wasn't found. But the tear in the leather of the shoe's tongue, supposedly where the police looked, was a ruse. The true secret lay in the composition of the blood itself. Lab tests, again, according to unverified leaks, found trace elements that didn't match the actor's last known toxicology report. A rare, almost archaic sedative, a paralyzing agent that would render a powerful man helpless, yet leave him conscious. He wasn't just drunk, he was incapacitated, a living sacrifice dressed in his own blood. This level of meticulous, almost ritualistic violence suggests not a botched robbery or a drunken fight, but a highly coordinated execution by people with resources, intelligence, and an unsettling flair for the dramatic. The art in the 798 district wasn't a coincidence, it was a psychological operation. The jacket and shoes were not mere clothes, they were artifacts of a power struggle that viewed human life as a dispensable prop in a grand, terrifying drama. The most unsettling part of this entire saga is the absolute silence from the official channels, a silence so profound it screams volumes. The quick closure of the case, the rapid censorship of any dissenting voice, the outright denial of the 798 Art Museum exhibit all serve to confirm the conspiracy. The jacket and shoes, whether physically destroyed or locked away in some dark vault, have taken on a life of their own. They are the symbols of a truth that refuses to die, the ghostly echo of a beloved actor's final agony. They represent the unseen forces that control the narrative, the puppet masters who view Beijing's art district not as a sanctuary for free thought, but as a convenient, atmospheric dumping ground for inconvenient truths. The question remains, who was the intended audience for this macabre installation? Was it the police, A deliberate challenge to their jurisdiction? Was it the public, a terrifying warning delivered through the universal language of art and scandal? Or was it an inner circle of powerful, shadowy figures, a chilling message passed between rivals that no one is untouchable? The 798 Art Museum stands today, its galleries quiet, filled with bright, challenging new works. But for those who know the story, who have seen the vanishing posts and heard the muffled audio, the jacket and shoes are still there. They hang in the air, a silent, bloody exhibit, a permanent ghost that proves the official story of Yu Menglong's accidental fall is a masterpiece of deception. The canvas is silent, but the story is screaming. And now, you know what the world is desperately trying to forget. The truth, in this case, is not just shocking, it's a work of terrifying, forbidden art. You thought the first piece of the puzzle was shocking? You haven't seen anything yet. We are diving deeper into the single most crucial, terrifying piece of evidence in the Yu Menglong death saga, the blood-stained jacket and shoes found abandoned in the hallowed halls of Beijing's 798 Art Museum. The official line was a drunken fall. But what we found here, in this temple of artistic expression, was a declaration of war against the truth, a macabre masterpiece staged by shadows. This isn't just about a celebrity death, it's about a conspiracy that weaponized art and silence. Get ready to have your mind blown. The 798 Art District is a former military factory, its huge, echoing German-designed spaces now holding millions in modern art. But on that quiet morning, the art was silent, and the reality was screaming. Picture this, it's 5:30 a.m. The air is frigid, the light weak and metallic, filtering through the high industrial windows. Laro Wang, a security guard who'd seen every bizarre installation imaginable, was doing his final pre-opening sweep of the colossal main gallery, a space dedicated to performance and conceptual pieces. He spots a pile of refuse near a concrete pillar. Must be a discarded prop, he thinks, annoyed. He walks closer. The shoes, white designer sneakers, are resting unnaturally on a low, minimalist stone plinth. One is upright, the other on its side, the laces dragging like dead ropes. They weren't dirty from the street, they were stained with a dark, crusty crimson. The jacket, a signature denim piece Yu Menglong was known to wear, was crumpled beside them. It wasn't folded or draped. It was collapsed, almost as if it had been dropped from a great height, still retaining the chilling silhouette of the chest and shoulders. Laro Wang reaches out, and as his fingers brush the stiff, soaked denim, he realizes this is not paint. This is not performance art. It is the unmistakable, sickening density of dried human blood. The realization is a punch to the gut. The silence of the vast concrete hall amplifies the horror, turning the gallery into a resonant chamber of the dead. This wasn't accidental. The items weren't hidden, they were exhibited. They were centrally placed in a hall dedicated to the exposure of forbidden ideas. Why the 798 Art Museum? Why not a trash bin? Why not a river? The choice of location is the key to understanding the true motive behind this staged crime. The killers, the shadowy operators who orchestrated Yu Menglong's fall, didn't just want him gone. They wanted to send a message. They chose 798 because it symbolizes unfettered expression and the challenging of state narratives. Imagine the surveillance team reviewing the hours leading up to the discovery. They don't see a struggle or a body. Instead, they catch a flash of movement not from a person, but from a high-tech drone, almost silent, flying low and fast over the industrial rooftops around 4 a.m. Unverified reports suggest this drone was used to drop the items, depositing them with unnerving accuracy onto the plinth or near the pillar. This turns the evidence into a conceptual piece. The title? The Untimely Fall of the Star. The message is clear: we can control the official story, the accidental fall, but we will use the very tools of dissent, contemporary art, to mock you, the public. The blood-stained jacket and shoes are a public secret, an unspoken truth placed right under the noses of the authorities, daring them to acknowledge the true crime hidden in plain sight. It's a terrifying display of power that says, we control the narrative, even the counter-narrative. Now, let's zoom in on the shoes. They are not merely blood-stained, they are broken, and this breakage tells a violent story that completely dismantles the drunk accident theory. Forensic reports, allegedly leaked to deep web journalists, highlighted the anomaly in the footwear. One shoe, the left one, had its entire outer side, the canvas and rubber, shredded. This isn't damage from hitting a concrete sidewalk after a fall. This is damage from being dragged or desperately kicking against a rough, abrasive surface, possibly the aluminum frame of a window or the jagged edge of an air conditioning unit. Imagine the last few moments of Yu Menglong's life. He's not casually stumbling. He is in a frantic, terrifying struggle. He is being restrained. He manages to reach a window, a single point of desperate escape. His left foot lashes out, trying to buy time, trying to break free or wedge the window. That shredded rubber on the shoe is the sound of his final, silent scream against his captors, proof of a physical, violent attempt to survive before he went over the edge. The heel of the right shoe, conversely, was almost perfectly smooth, worn flat as if he had been pivoting or spinning rapidly on a polished floor, a struggle indoors, then the desperate, violent lunge towards the light. The shoes, the most grounded objects in the entire mystery, confirm that this was a chase, a capture, and a terrifying, brutal confrontation, not an unfortunate slip. The museum relic isn't just clothing, it is the UN-redacted, cinematic footage of Yu Menglong's final moments, displayed for the few brave enough to look past the official lie. The blood-stained jacket and shoes at 798 are not just physical evidence, they are the heart of a narrative the powerful tried to silence. They stand as a testament to the brutal, calculated staging of a celebrity's murder, disguised as an accident. If you believe the truth needs to be heard, you know what to do. Like this video, share it with everyone you know, and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden stories of the world's elite. And now, I want to hear your theories. Drop them in the comments below. Why did the killers choose the 798 Art Museum specifically? What statement were they trying to make by turning the crime into art? The shredded left shoe. Was Yu Menglong trying to kick out a pane of glass, or was he dragged sideways across a rooftop before the fall? If you were the curator who found these items, what would you have done immediately after realizing it was real blood? Let's break the silence and expose the shadows.